Right now, I'd like to present Oscar Robertson, Hall of Famer, 1979, to make the presentation to Jack Twyman.
Thank you, Dick. To Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame guests, I'm very happy to be here after being inducted in 1979. It's really a remarkable life. People look at my ring a lot when I travel, and they often want me to take off just to show them what it's all about. And it's really a great feeling, really. As the year go by, I guess I'll think about it much, much more. But before we got started, you know, Coach Gaines, who tried to recruit me a while ago, he said, "Son, I'll let you shoot anytime you want to." I just wanted to say, Coach, all my eligibility is all gone. There's a young man who's won more basketball games than any coach in America, Coach Gaines. But I first met Jack Twyman in 1956 when I came to the University of Cincinnati, and I got into town. I went up to where I was going to stay, and believe me or not, I see a guy coming out with his basketball uniform on. And it was Jack Twyman, and here I am as a kid out of high school, just graduated, and here's a guy that I've read about a little bit, wanted to play some one-on-one basketball. And we played many, many games. Believe me, over that summer, after meeting Jack, we must have played about 1,000 one-on-one games, because this guy really wanted to play basketball, and he found a sucker in Oscar Robertson. But I really learned to play basketball versus Jack. You know, we first started to play against Jack. The bruises started to appear, and the elbows started to come, and so after a while, I just sort of sit down on the bench and sort of looked at Jack a little bit. I was a little upset, didn't know what to say. Here's a great pro playing against me. He came over and put his arm around me. He said, "Son, if you want to play basketball, you got to get tough." And believe me, this is not a untrue story, but it's almost that true, because really playing against Jack was an act of self-defense. But I think in order to play good basketball, in order to have any kind of success, no matter who you are or what kind of ability you might have, I think you got to go to your coach and where you're going to play basketball, because he has to recognize what you have and let you play. And I'm sure Jack would attest to it that Coach Smith let him play his type of basketball game, and he certainly let me. At this particular time, I want to introduce our college coach, Coach George Smith, and his wife, Helen. You know, Jack has been ribbed a lot about a lot of his basketball records, so I'll just name a few of them while I'm standing here. Jack scored over 18,000 points. No assists or rebounds, just points. But I must say, you know, Jerry Lucas can attest to this. You know, Jack was he had a great knack of getting down the floor. You know, Lucas would rebound, pass to me, and Jack would always be there with his hand up. The fastest man I've ever seen in my life. You know. But I think in order to get a lot, I want to say a little bit about Jack. Something I never really thanked him for. It's a personal thing, really. It's all the endeavors and the hard work that he did for a friend of mine, Maurice Stokes. I won't go into the situation because I'm sure you know so much about it. But we can all learn and learn by Jack for what he did for his fellow man. And in our lives today, you know, there's very few people who do have compassion for their fellow man. Jack is a great humanitarian and a friend. And I'm happy to say, I'm happy to join him and invite him into the Hall of Fame class. He's a great friend of mine, and it is a pleasant task to be able to invite Jack in and say that good luck to you, and I'm very happy your families are here with you today.
Jack Twyman, by virtue of your election and by the authority vested in me by the trustees of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, it's my distinguished honor to enshrine you as a player in the Basketball Hall of Fame with all of its rights and privileges. Congratulations, Jack.
Thank you.
And one more. Cool.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed a great evening for me, made doubly so by the presentation by Oscar. Oscar and I had many good years together. I think we played about 7 years together on the Royals. I thought he could have passed the ball to me a little more than it did, but that's water over the dam. There's a lot of thoughts going through my mind this evening, and I'd like to try and organize them a little bit if I may. The first thing that I'm thinking about is the many people, good friends, that have made an extraordinary effort to be here on this great occasion. Many of you will not recognize their names, but I'm going to mention them anyway. Over to my right, my dear friends, the Hegiais and the Wetterows and the Krutzingers, the Herons, the Lockwoods from Cincinnati. Oscar introduced our coach, my coach for 3 years and his coach for 4 years, George and Helen Smith. My brother-in-law, Bob Fry, and his family from Springfield, Mass. My sister-in-law and her husband, the Stammans, from Boston. And a group that I'm going to just take a little bit of time with because they're the most important people in my life, and I'm going to ask them to stand. First, my children that are here. Jay is over here on the end. Next to Jay, Jay is an aspiring young businessman with General Foods. Next to Jay is Lisa. Lisa is a reporter at Sports Illustrated, which I'm very proud. Next to Michelle, who wasn't even around when I played. Next to Lisa is Michelle, who wasn't around when I played. Michelle, stand up. And the most important person in my life, who has to be a saint to put up with my nonsense for some 27 years now, my wife, Carol. Carol? There's another thought I have. Oscar was kind to mention my involvement with Maurice Stokes. There's one person here that is not here that I want to mention. He's known to many of you. He swore me never to tell this story while he was alive, but about a year ago he passed on, and I'm speaking, of course, about Ed Mosler. About 3 months into Maurice's illness, when we were running out of money in Cincinnati, and Maurice was about to be evicted from the hospital, and we had no visible means of where the next dollar was coming from at that time. That was before the days of Milton and Helen. Ed Mosler came to Cincinnati from New York and went to Christ Hospital and signed his name on a document guaranteeing that for as long as it took, Maurice Stokes' medical bills would be paid if we were not able to generate the funds. Ed passed away last year. He was a member of the Board of Trustees of the Hall of Fame, and I know was a great friend of mine and a constant booster of mine. I regret very much that Ed is not here this evening to share in this moment with me, but I'm delighted to say that those of us on the Stokes Committee have allocated a sum of money, and through the cooperation of Lee Williams and the Basketball Hall of Fame, a bust is being commissioned commemorating Ed Mosler's commitment to the game of basketball and will be constantly present in the new Hall of Fame when it's constructed. So for that I'm very happy, and as somebody mentioned, we know that Ed is up there looking down on us, and I can't help but think of him at a moment like this. In no particular, thank you. Bob Curlin said to me last night, you're in for a real experience tomorrow night because you're going to sit at that dais and some things are going to come to your mind that you really haven't thought about in a long time. And I'm a very fortunate fellow. For the past several years, I've been off in another direction. I've been away from the game of basketball in the food business that has provided me with all the excitement that I experienced while I was playing the game of basketball. But as I sat here this evening and saw George Smith introduced by Oscar, I thought about a hotel room in Oklahoma City about 1952 where a young sophomore in college spent the afternoon talking to his coach about life and about what lie ahead. And I often think about that conversation, and on occasion have had the opportunity to thank George, but George was a very meaningful part of my life and a very positive experience on my life, and not often do you have an opportunity as I have now to once again thank him for that afternoon in Oklahoma City. I see Les Harrison sitting down here. He owned the Rochester Royals in 1955 when three guys by the name of Maurice Stokes, Ed Fleming, and Jack Twyman gathered at Twyman's house and piled in a car to head for their first rookie camp, not knowing what lay ahead. And each of us, I guess, in our own way, made our mark on the game, and that was a very exciting time. I look at Larry Fleischer here tonight, and about 1958 or 59, in the law offices of Fleischer and Dornbush in New York City, I can remember Bob Pettit and Bob Cousy and myself getting together with Larry to talk about the future of the players in the National Basketball Association. And I guess that might be construed as the start of the Players Association. And I think it was a positive meeting and led to many positive things. And for the small part I played in that meeting, I do have a sense of pride. I look at Milton and Helen Kutcher sitting out there, and Milt Kutcher one day about 25 years ago, and for that I'm grateful. Thank you.